So our problem is reducing teenage road injuries and deaths. So Oscar's gonna start us off with the first slide.
So, why is teenage road injuries a problem? Car accidents are the leading cause of teenage deaths. In 2017, 2,364 teens in the U.S. aged 16 to 19 died. About 300,000 were treated in emergency departments for injuries gained in car accidents. So, who is the most at risk? In 2017, the motor vehicle death rate for male drivers ages 16 through 19 was over 2 times higher than the death rate for female drivers of the same age. Um, Teens driving with teen passengers, the presence of passengers increases the crash risk of unsupervised teen drivers. The risk increases the risk increase with increased numbers of teenage passengers. Newly licensed teens crash risk is particularly high due to the during the first months of licensing. Data from 2017 National Household Travel Survey indicate that the crash rate per mile is 1.5 times higher for 16-year-olds than it is for 18 and 19-year-olds.
The risk factors on car accidents is the experience that the driver has. Speeding is one of the most problems we have. When people speed, they're most likely to get into a car crash. The seatbelt use. No, you don't have a seatbelt. You can mostly like go flying out through the windshield. You're on the hood and you're bleeding. The alcohol use, which you're driving while you're intoxicated, which is very bad because you don't really know what you're doing. The nighttime and driving, um, believe it or not, this is actually one of the biggest problems as well, because not getting enough sleep is really bad. Like if you're sleepy and you're driving, you're most likely to get into a car accident. The experience and speeding. The risk of crashing is obviously more higher than a newly licensed driver than it is compared to an experienced driver. Crashes per mile rate is 1.5 times higher than 16-year-olds compared to the 18 through 19-year-olds. The teens are more often likely to speed more than older drivers, as well as have shorter headways.
Here are some differences with wearing seatbelts and like safety gear. An increase in the average speed has 4% change of a fatal crash. So driving under the influence, oh shoot, can increase the likelihood of a car crash by 5 times. Wearing a helmet can lead to 42% reduction in the risk of a fatal injury. Using seatbelt Using a seatbelt can reduce the risk among drivers in the front seat by 50% and for the people in the back by 25%. So like use a seatbelt, you have more likely chance of
Uh,
avoiding a
Mr. Boss,
fatal crash.
I know this is a bad time, but my dad's calling me. Can I take the phone call real quick?
Are you about how almost done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Would it be
Yeah.
possible
Hold
for you to finish, or is
on.
it
Oh,
a?
he hung up. He hung up. It's okay. I'll see if we continue.
Oh, that was it for that slide.
Okay. So DUI, driving under influence. Or driving under intox. No, it's DWI, driving while intoxicated. Yeah, okay. 15 of the drivers' ages is 16 through 20 involved in fatal mortal vehicle crashes had a BAC of 0.08% or higher. 58% of drivers ages 15 through 20 who were killed in motor vehicle crashes after drinking and driving were not wearing a seatbelt. Among male drivers ages 15 through 20 who were involved in fatal crashes in 2017, 31% of them were speeding at the time of the crash. 20% had been drinking. So nighttime and driving, like I said, being sleepy and driving isn't really a good idea because 40% of the motor vehicle crashes deaths among teenage drivers and passengers aged 13 to 19 occurred between 9 p.m. and 6 p.m. and 51% occurs on Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays. Little sleep and deciding to drive increases the risk of a car crash. 20% of all United States crashes are because of lack of sleep. If you get 5 to 6 hours of sleep, there's a higher chance of a car crash. And these were our sources. We also have a 10-minute video if we have time to show that, yeah?
So our original idea was to create a diorama to demonstrate how you would react to a car accident, but we left it over at E3 in order.
Okay.
Yeah. Any
Okay.
questions?
Thank you. I do have one question. So how do you propose your solution? I'm sorry, I'm explain again. How do you propose your solution will help aid in the decreasing of teenage injuries through driving?
Well, we were hoping to spread awareness through flyers and our diorama, but we weren't able to spread as many brochures and flyers that we could, due to the pandemic.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Okay.